Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back. So it's time for the Mastercraft 9-inch bandsaw review. I've had this thing for a little bit, not a major amount of time, but I've been playing with it a lot and really enjoying this bandsaw. I watched a couple other videos about this bandsaw because there isn't much on YouTube anyway. There are things that people like about it, things that people don't like about it. We all have the same opinions. You know, we all wish that this was all a metal unit in here, which would be really good and practical, but hey, unfortunately it's not. It's kind of the way it goes. But either way, it doesn't stop it from working properly. Now, it is very important to read the manual for this thing on how to properly set up the blade guides and your bearings, okay? Because there's a bearing that goes up against the back of the blade, as well as your blade guides have to be set up properly, as does your tension on your blade need to be set up properly for this thing to cut straight and true, which it will, okay, time after time after time again. So anyways, let me fire this puppy up for you. I just got a piece of wood here. We're just going to slice it down, not right down the middle, but you know. That's a pretty nice square cut. Now, if you need to get up a little closer, you can. Pretty consistently done. That's good. I can do that all day long. Get our little miter gauge guy on here. All nicely cut pieces. Can't complain there, guys. Great little saw. Anybody whose video you watch that knocks this saw, you tell them that they need to get it set up right, and it'll be fine. There's no excuse for this saw not to cut proper and straight, unless there's some sort of a factory defect in it somewhere, which this one has none. Okay? And like I said, there's not many videos on Mastercraft tools of any sort, really, and I don't know why. There's a lot of Canadians that are on YouTube, and a lot of us use Mastercraft stuff, but I don't know. Maybe over time there'll be more and more, because I know the more Mastercraft stuff I'm going to buy, the more I'm going to do reviews on the stuff. But this is not a heavy-duty bandsaw. I mean, if you're going to do stuff like build ukuleles, okay, which is something I'm going to be getting into, and probably doing some guitar stuff, like some, very adequate bandsaw for that, okay? I wouldn't suggest slicing out necks with this thing, but, you know, you could do quite a bit of that work, I would imagine, between this and a good table saw, and you should be able to make actually, well, you actually probably could make a full guitar but you would have to take it really super gentle, especially when you're slicing out the pieces for a neck, you know, for a regular sized guitar. But for ukuleles, you can make ukulele stuff and cut the necks out on for the ukulele on this thing like all day long. Wouldn't bug it one bit. But it is a light duty machine. It can handle some more dutier stuff, but it is not a heavy duty machine by any means whatsoever. If you want to do any kind of scroll cutting on it, you can do that too. Works pretty good. That's actually paneling that you'll see common in RV trailers. So, but anyway, does a great job. It scrolls really well. Not a lot of choices of blades though. Canadian Tire actually only has the one blade for this thing. So I bought a spare either way, and it's 1/16 per inch, 62 inch. Now, I seen a guy on YouTube, he had a Ryobi, and I think it was from Harbor Freight or somewhere, anyways, maybe it was Princess Auto, I don't know. You'd have to find the video, but he actually converted one of these saws to cutting metal. So he got a metal cutting blade. Works awesome for it. I think it was a Ryobi used for that one. I actually looked at the Ryobi one too, wasn't overly impressed with it. This is a much, much better saw than the Ryobi. Plus, I love the extension table on this. I love the table, period. It's a really nice table. But I also love the extension part because it gives you an extra few inches for bigger material, which is great. And you just lock it back down in place. Just turn the bolts and away you go. And if you want to put it back at any time, just slide her back. And it's good, stable table too, by the way. But I like it. Like other people, I would have wished that this was metal, not plastic in this area. The Ryobi is also exactly the same. It's plastic in here too, but you know, it's kind of one of those things where, I don't know, it works, you know, and it's more of a guide than anything, so it really doesn't need to be metal, you know, and the plastic is more than strong enough for it. But I don't know. I like it. It's a good little saw. I've had 9-inch bandsaws before. Actually, the very first bandsaw I ever bought myself was a 9-inch, I believe it was a Delta, if I remember right. And it was a really good saw. I had that for quite a long time before I finally killed it. I used to make wood grips, as a lot of you guys know. Used to, don't anymore. But I used a 9-inch for years, killed it, and then I ended up with my dad's bandsaw, you know. And that was great, but I needed something smaller and I needed space back in the shop too at the same time. And that's been my goal lately, is getting the most tools in here and organized as well, and still having a lot of space in my shop. And so going down in size to a lot of stuff has been great. Now the only thing I increased on physical size was the cutting size. On my table saw, I went from an 8-inch old-fashioned jobby that took up a lot of real estate and really heavy to a much lighter weight 10-inch Mastercraft saw, which also has direct drive. So now I can do anything I want from 0 to 45-degree angle cuts, which is great, and not have to worry about anything. So there's good points and bad points and everything when you really get around to it, you know. Overall, 4 out of 5 is where I'd stick this thing. It does have the safety thing that you can pull out if you got kids, so they can't mess with your tools and hurt themselves. You can also just unlock this at the back, leave this down, lock it. You know, it's safety. So if you do turn the machine on, nobody gets hurt. But also when you're making cuts and stuff, you got to adjust this according to where you need the height. And if you got to get to a really close inside cut, you got to make sure that this is going to be at the right height here, because you're not going to be able to go down really low with it, because you're going to get stopped, right? So that's something you want to know about. You know, like, I'm sure it's something that's very common. You'll figure that out really quick, that, hey, I need to do a narrow cut, but, you know, well, you're going to have a little bit more blade height to do that really narrow cut, which means you're going to get a little bit more chance of blade flex, so you got to take a slower cut. You know, the closer that guide is to the table, to the height of your wood, the faster cut you can do. So, and what I'm talking about with that is, you want to cut something, you want it up close, right? Now, if you bring this up just a hair and lock it, check to make sure that your piece does not bind on the way through. If it has any bind spots, like this one's got a bind spot, you're going to have to adjust for that bind spot. Okay? So now we're good. Pretty crazy shapes there. That's kind of fun. So anyway, and be careful when you're doing stuff with a bandsaw. I nailed my thumb once on my Delta, and it was like a CSI episode when that happened. Blood shot up everywhere. I just about cut my thumb off. So that's a whole other story, and I think I have a video about that on my channel somewhere too. That was something that, yeah, you don't work on tools when you're in a grumpy mood. So, anyways, there you go. So that's the bandsaw, that's our review, that's our vote on it. Sale price, definitely awesome. Couldn't have asked for a better deal. Retail on it, I'd probably pay like no more than $200 retail. If I had to pay a retail price. It's about it's $2 something retail. But I only paid like, I think it was like $149, or I think it was $149, $129 or $149. It's on my channel for the unboxing, exactly what I paid for it. You can check out the unboxing video and stuff like that. But definitely worth the money I paid for it. If I had to pay retail, like I said, $200 is about where I'm at on it. I think it's worth that. It probably is worth the retail price when you really get to thinking about it. Especially when you compare it against the Ryobi version. The Ryobi is, I don't like it, I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep knocking the Ryobi, but the simple fact is Ryobi really is not that hot of a tool. I mean, they are better than Black & Decker, yes, I will say that, but not by much. I think Black & Decker actually owns Ryobi, if I remember right. Black & Decker bought a lot of companies out a while back. Ryobi is coming along. They are getting better, but still Mastercraft is in the winning race against the Ryobi. You know, and if I had a choice, and if I only had two choices of, say, cordless drills in the planet, between Ryobi and Mastercraft, I'd take the Mastercraft. And I'm not a real massive fan of Mastercraft drills, but if I only had the choice between the two, I would pick the Mastercraft. You know, it's not just always about the warranty thing. It's about the quality. It's about, you know, what you're getting for your money too. You know, that sort of thing. How technologically advanced is one to the other? What are the benefits of one to the other? And I see a lot of that when I've been shopping around for my tools lately, especially with my drill press and my bandsaw. I looked at the Ryobis too, you know, thought maybe I will give them a shot if they're any better, but turned out they were actually far inferior. Same as my sander, you know, I've had two Ryobis, and as soon as I turned the power switch up on one, it immediately cooked, and the other one didn't last more than a couple of minutes, and it started to stall out, and it cooked, and it's like, nope. So I went out and I got a TNT and never had a day of trouble. But then that went somewhere, I don't remember. But now I have a Mastercraft one that I quite enjoy. And So there you go. So that's where we're at with the bandsaw review. Do I recommend it? Definitely, especially if you're in Canada. And if you're not in Canada and you want a Mastercraft instead of having to put up with a Ryobi, if you have a friend in Canada, I'm sure they could purchase it for you and then ship it to you. Because I don't think Canadian Tire ships to the US. So, cause I know you can buy stuff online and have it shipped, but I don't think they ship to the US. I don't know. I live in Canada, so I don't worry. I just go to my local Canadian Tire store. But they're great little machines for hobbyists, that's for sure. And for doing a little bit more serious stuff, but just not overkill stuff, you know. You need overkill, buy overkill, you know. But there you go. So thanks for watching, and we'll definitely catch you guys in the next video. Ciao.